You three all have kind of a similar background of getting into real estate right now.
Is that you? Are you the similar?
Yeah, I am the support system.
Lucas is the glue.
Yeah, the support system.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Real Estate. I'm Tone.
Lucas with Burrington Real Estate and K&K Real Estate.
I'm Bre with AMMT Property Management.
I'm Gabby with AMMT Property Management too.
You can hang on to that because we're going to pass it around. We're going to ask you guys some questions. Like Lucas said, we're going to do some Q&A. Before we get into that, usually we introduce our whiskey. I think we're gonna be cool today.
We are at 10 a.m. in the morning, actually 9:30 probably about now in the morning.
Probably our earliest episode.
It is. So it's not a prime time to be drinking drinking whiskey, but it's always a good time to be talking real estate.
Yeah.
I do want to point out Woodford Reserve's in today. I was looking forward to busting this out. Tone and I are going to be busting this out at the next episode.
Oh yeah.
And then we got our two Cedar Ridge, the Slipknot edition up there, that the reserve that we had last time, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then we've had Templeton Rye a couple times, but Tone, you don't know nothing until you've tried the Woodford Reserve. So yes. We're gonna get into that.
But, oh yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit of real estate. What's today's market looking like?
Not a whole lot's changed. Actually, rates went up like 0.18 this last week. When we didn't think they could go up much more, they did.
Surprise.
Crazy thing is since we started the brokerage and went live, that Burrington Real Estate, K&K Real Estate are flying along. The response has been unreal. Like, I have never been so busy with the real estate. So investors are going nuts. Just last night, Chuck and I stayed at the office late because we were writing. I think we wrote up 6 to 10 transactions within 2 hours of and that's going to equivalent up to probably about 10 properties sold in about 4 hours.
Wow.
So, and we barely had to leave our desk to get it done, and he was working on the dot loops as I was talking to investors on the phone and wheeling and dealing back and forth. And then in the meanwhile, we had some of our single family sellers, investors came in and swooped up their properties too. So it's one of those things where we've been talking about it, and the market is starting to snowball itself. Of people have to go now. People still need to move from house to house, and the supply and demand still been sparse. So there's still 800 properties on the market when there should be 1,800. So investors are swooping up stuff right now. They're positioning themselves for February and March to resell a lot of these properties. Mm-hmm. And so they can inject some properties into the market, which is going to be fantastic. But they're also, it's beneficial to my clientele that are my single family sellers and buyers, that they have that support of, if they need to get rid of something because they need to go find something, or they just found a house that they've been waiting for the last 6 months. The investors are coming in and buying their house off them at a price they're happy with, and so both parties are win-win. Yeah. The people that have been waiting and those houses are popping up, they're starting to pop up. So
okay. So I think it may have been the last episode that you announced that you're now your own brokerage.
Yep.
And it seems like business is booming because of it. Is it like when you build, they come? Is that kind of situation, or is it now that the middleman is gone? Like, why has things been on the up and up?
It's been a variety of things. It's activity creates activity. So, us doing podcasts and giving back to the community and getting ourselves out there over the last 12 to 15 years. I think it's now the support's full circle. They don't feel like they're supporting a corporate brokerage now. They are supporting their local brokerages. And it's been great. We've had 5 to 7 agents coming over with us too to start selling with us because they like the activity and that Jeremy and I have created over the last, I don't know how many years, of just giving back to the communities type thing. So it's the response as well. And I didn't realize how many people wanted to, start, that were fluctuating because of the name of a corporate brokerage behind me that they were bouncing because they had a friend that worked for another corporate brokerage, and now they're like, now we've separated ourselves and said, we are the local realtor. Now it's not just us posting a billboard that says we are, because it still said our corporate brokerage on the bottom of it. Now it truly says it's Burrington Real Estate.
That's amazing.
K&K Real Estate. And
that's amazing.
AMMT is truly local, so it is now locally owned, locally driven. It is, when we say local, it's local.
What I love, and it's something I always talk about, and all the podcasts I do is full circle moments. And I just had something very similar as well. And somebody, even shouted me out for it. But, I do a lot of stuff for Iowa. Like, I'm Iowa. And recently, Iowa just gave back to me in a huge way. I just received, I got approved for a grant to shoot a short film out here in Iowa, and it's funded by the state of Iowa. And
That's awesome.
It's really cool. I was just meeting these wonderful ladies, and they're like, "You're just doing everything." It's like, well, one thing I didn't even mention is I wrote, and I'll be directing and acting in my own short film. And we were supposed to shoot in a couple weeks, but I'm pushing it back to November. That way I can just focus on the music awards right now and not have my plate too full, and also getting my real estate license. I don't want to try to remember lines, remember stuff for a test, and then remember to send out these press releases and emails and be in communication with everybody. And I go to Mexico this week, and then at the end of the month I go to Atlanta, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't try to cram a movie
right
and all this. But I mean, as you were saying, you give back to local, and then eventually local gives back to you. And I've been giving my all and going hard for Iowa for as long as I can remember, and it's really starting to pay off and give back. And with the collaboration and with it being mutual, we'll be able to do more and greater things together.
Yeah, do it right. That's for sure. Good move, moving it back though. That's for sure. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I've kind of seen this progression since we've started this of you creating, well, not creating, but keeping your wheel turn, and the snowball effect that's came your way. So it's been, God bless.
It's pretty great. It's fun. It's definitely a journey. So that's a little bit about our journeys right now. Let's talk about you guys' journeys.
Well, we started like 3 weeks ago, I want to say. I almost have been here for a full month.
Oh, nice. So we already got you on podcasts and doing interviews. All right.
Definitely putting our names out there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Branding, building.
What do you like about it so far? What got you into it? And then we'll move the mic over.
Well, getting to meet new people and building our clientele for our next journey, I guess, in real estate.
Okay. Pass the mic around.
Well, and the key thing that we do with training new agents coming on and new showing agents with AMMT is trying to get them outside their comfort zone.
Just throwing them on the camera and on the
Throwing them on the
podcast.
camera. We had headshots this week for business cards. So it's one of those things. If you can do AMMT and be successful on the showing side as a leasing agent and transfer that to the real estate. We run AMMT like a real estate transaction, so it'll be a breeze when their license comes through, and because they're learning everything on the backside of it. So my goal is to make you girls break out of your comfort zone. What Kobe Bryant always say, the greatest success that he's ever had is when he was outside his comfort zone.
Nice.
Because you're not learning anything new. You're not testing your body. You're not testing your will and your testament if you stay in your comfort zone. I mean, it's like when people go out and do sprints, like guys, like coaching, I've coached for 19 years. And I mean, the biggest complaint I get from the guys that didn't want to be great is how tough these sprints were. And then like our girls in practice, I mean, they complain about conditioning and whatnot. But they don't understand is when they break themselves past that, being exhausted and then showing they can still do an extra sprint and do that. Yeah. That's when they build and get better.
Yeah.
If you just stayed, it's like, okay, I ran 5 and I'm exhausted and I quit. You never got any better. Yeah. So, I mean, that getting outside your comfort zone. Tell us.
I text Chuck because he was like, I just finished a photo shoot. I was like, dang, you finally shave and cut your hair? He said, absolutely not. Come on, man. You had one job.
One job, man. Yeah.
Bre, what got you into real estate?
Well, I guess just I wanted to do something different with my career, and it was nice to walk in and see such a welcoming group of people.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody was so nice, and then I started showing properties and getting basically comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Nice.
So it's just been a growing experience, and I'm just soaking up everything, all information from people around me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, the girls have been great. They've been a breath of fresh air. I mean, it keeps me from having to be out there running and showing everything, and then still try to manage, and then still try to sell real estate and try to figure out what my cleaners are. And so it's been a big relief having them come on. And it also it's motivating for Chuck, which is nice. When we will get Chuck on here.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make that happen. Make him
But
shave and cut his hair first, though.
yeah, but it's kind of let him seeing that there's support for him too, because I mean, he was all worried that he's like, man, we're bringing on 186 new properties this next 45 days, and it's just me and you showing these properties. And I'm like, no, we got reinforcements coming, don't worry. And I mean, and every day I'm fielding a phone call from a new agent or an agent that is thinking about transferring over, and just knowing we have that pipeline out there. So
well, you did quite a bit of interviews, didn't you?
Oh my God.
In a very short amount of time.
yes. Yeah, and hats off to these girls. I mean, I think we were like on interview 48 to 52, I think is what we did in like a week.
2 days.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
It was nuts.
I can't believe you did that many. Bro.
Yeah, and for me to shut down for 2 to 3 days, I mean, I think you girls understand how big of a deal that is for me just to clear my schedule for 2 days in the middle of the week to interview, and then do it again for second interviews. So, but it also speaks to how well these two interviewed. I mean, it's there was probably 5 on the list that I was like, man, somehow, some way, I wish I could fit 5, but we had 2 is all we had space for at the moment, and so yeah, it was a tough decision, but we made the right one.
Definitely,
So,
I can just feel their energy. They're excited to be here. So so we'll start with Bre and then we'll go back over here. What are some of your concerns with being in real estate?
Disappointing people. I've noticed that people are not playing about their house and where they want to stay and everything. So like that's just kind of been like my biggest concern. But I think I'll be fine. It's just making sure I do my best to satisfy my client. So yeah.
All right. And one thing Lucas always says is, I mean, this is the biggest purchase you'll ever make in your life. So it is a bit scary on both sides because you're the seller and then they're the buyer. But at the end of the day, you know, this is a part of life. We all need a place to stay. So, you know, I wouldn't be too concerned with disappointing someone. You know, they have the option to look at several places, and it's sometimes it's a gamble. You know, hey, it's either jump on it or, you know, if someone else swoops in, then it wasn't meant for you. You know, and just kind of push that narrative. What's meant to be will be. What's some of your concerns with
I would
real
say
estate?
one of my concerns is finding like the perfect house for each client, making sure it meets all their expectations and trying to find what fits best for each person.
Okay. Lucas, you got something for that about the perfect house?
There isn't a such thing, man, because it's perfect today. It won't be 6 months from now when they call and be like, hey, what about this leak and what about that and what about this? And I mean, you know, it is one of those things that are, and you both hit the number one thing is the customer service side of it, because if you truly met their needs, I always, you know, do your checklist to say, hey, you know, they were looking for this. Listen instead of talk. Listen more instead of talking when you're talking to them, or when you're interviewing them. Is really hear them out, and you're hitting their checkpoints, and you can make them answer we've always talked about the 3 to 4 questions that, you know, would you be pissed if it's sold or it rented? Mm-hmm. If they can say yes, then that's one yes. When you're looking at everything else, do you compare it back to this one? Everyone's educated now with how online everything is, so they can get all the information. The third question I always ask is, where do you see your belongings in this house? Can you see yourself living here? And then when my daughters, the K and K side of it, Kennedy and Camille, they love to come show properties. They always pop out, where's your Christmas tree going?
Oh yeah.
And if they can say yes and visualize to all 4 of them, the undecisive person, that's the place for them. Mm-hmm. That is the place. If they cannot say yes to all 4 of them, then we need to keep looking.
Yeah. I would say one of the big takeaways, even from that, is like a lot of people, if they're looking to buy a house, they want to check all the boxes. Those 4 things are the boxes. Like, there's not all the boxes. There's really not a perfect house for, you'll always find something that could have been better, could have been, different, or you saw something at a different location, but it's those 4 things,
Yep, we got into it our last podcast, the negotiables and non-negotiables.
Exactly.
So we talked about that in the last podcast is, some people, I'm like, you guys really have to narrow it down to your negotiables and non-negotiables. Yeah. Your non-negotiables, we have to find it with these non-negotiable things.
Yeah.
You got 4 kids, you need 4 beds, you need 2 baths. Okay, that's your non-negotiables. Your negotiables are like, okay, I really don't care if it's an eating kitchen or a dining room, or I could care less if the basement's finished, or if it's not, I could see it in the future where it could be. Those are negotiable items. Yeah. Those aren't deal breakers. But figuring out what the non-negotiables are is crucial.
Yeah. As Lucas knows, I like to ask the tough questions. So I got one for Lucas. You mentioned, you like where their head's at with their customer service. In the real estate world, is the customer always right?
No, they're not. They're not.
Quick with it.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is.
It's an easy answer. I always say, and it's a good comparison. Would you go to a brain doctor
and tell them how
to have heart surgery?
Right. Okay.
And that's how critical this is.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with your biggest purchase of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So would you go to a brain doctor for heart surgery? Probably not. Would you go to your dentist for brain surgery? You probably would not. So when these people are dealing with life-changing events, and that's what it is when you're buying a property, it's a life-changing event. You're spending $100,000 to $300,000 to $400,000 to $500,000. That's life-changing money for a lot of people. Don't think you know it all. I mean, there's a reason we are the professionals in this field. I'm like, all right, you want to go for sale by owner? They're like, well, I'm going to save $10,000 in commissions because I go for sale by owner. Okay, you're right. You're going to put that house on the market for $160, and let's just say it's a $190 house, but you don't know that because you don't know the market. Mm-hmm. Or vice versa, you're going to throw it on the market for $190, and it's a $150,000 house, and you just kiss the snake in the head because it's going nowhere. And most importantly, you devalued your property. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, people always say, I'm going to save this amount of money on the commission. A good realtor pays for himself. He prices it right. He prices the commission within it. He builds the value in the property by the marketing he does and by how he does the showings and how he's bringing in a group of clientele that's already pre-qualified, ready to go, not wasting your time. And that's where the value is built in by the realtor, which is AKA the doctor in the situation. So yeah, can a customer be wrong in real estate? Heck yeah. Do we have those customers that walk in that think they know everything because they watched a podcast or because they went in and did a training or online or whatever? Not. Man, I have those investors and I have those buyers that show up with like they got their clipboards with a checklist, and this is what it is. I can't buy this house because there's not 30% equity into this property right out of the gate, and we want to buy something with 30. Great, go to Vegas, go to Arizona, go to Phoenix. You're not going to find that in this market.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And if it does, there's already 20 people bidding on it.
Yep.
Eating up that 30% of equity. It looked great on paper, but now you got 20 people bidding on it, and the equity's gone.
There you go.
So, yes.
All right.
Customers can be wrong.
Question for you guys. What do you think makes a good realtor?
I think knowing your clients, knowing what they want and what they're looking for.
All right. We'll pass the mic across here.
What do you got?
I would say someone who is organized, time efficient, and responsible, I guess. Like you can just get the stuff done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my thing.
Lucas, let's talk about that because I feel like you check all those boxes.
I try.
The care of the client, very timely. You fill up every minute of the day. Talk about the good and the struggles that you have with keeping all those things they mentioned in line.
So I'm a KISS guy. Keep it simple, stupid. Kind of like with those 4 questions, if you can't say yes, then I need to show you 55 houses. When it becomes to my job as the realtor, And your guys' job as showing agents and becoming realtors, it's 3 things: dependability, reliability, and accountability. If you can check those 3 boxes, was I dependable? Was I there for them? When I didn't know the answer, was I held accountable to find the right answer? And reliability is, can they trust that I'm bringing them hard facts and I'm coming prepared for the appointment. So if you got dependability, reliability, and the opportunity for accountability, and you can mark those things, yes, you've done a great job. Where a lot of people, a lot of other realtors, we get into situations, and that gets into the employee standpoint. In any aspect of life, if you follow those 3 things, you're good. But getting in, and there's transactions I get with other realtors, and the accountability, they want to post blame on someone else, or they want to be like, hey, this was the inspector's fault, or this was this, or my sellers never told me. But at the end of the day, you got to pull that mirror out and be like, did I ask the right questions?
Exactly.
Did I follow up on the inspection? Did I make a phone call to the mortgage company? Did I do this? I mean, so the accountability and reliability is 2 things that I think lack in our industry, because everything, I mean, people want to puff their chests and, try to get in disputes over little knick-knack stuff, where at the end of the day, we got to look out for your client, my client, and let's get it to a closing table.
Absolutely.
So it's as simple as that. But three main things, girls: accountability, reliability, and dependability.
All right. So about 3 weeks for both of you guys, right?
Yep.
What's something that you learned in these last 3 weeks that you didn't expect to learn?
When doing applications, first time running people's backgrounds, finding some crazy stuff.
Don't reveal that.
No. So yeah, that's definitely been something that I did not think that I would be doing. Because coming in, I thought I was going to be showing property and stuff. I didn't really have a good understanding of what I was going to be doing as a property manager, as a leasing agent, and things like that. But now I'm like, okay, here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go fast, Gabby. So one of the surprising things would be like getting offers before they even put in the application or something like that.
What?
Yeah, just the other day, somebody had offered Bre $500 just to accept their application and
Just to accept the
and just
application.
make it straight for them so they can get into the house.
Yeah.
Lucas, is that like one of those, hey, don't even do the background check? You're like,
Oh,
is
God,
that the
no.
type of situation? Like
We have a fiduciary duty, and I hate that word, but we have a fiduciary duty as soon as you sign on to protect both parties. So, AKA test questions for the real estate. What is the realtor's main job? And it is highlighted everywhere you see as you're doing your training to become a real estate agent and a showing agent. It is protect the public.
Yeah.
So we have to protect both parties.
Okay.
John comes in and wants to give you $500 or wants to give, like Chuck. Chuck had a gentleman show up and offer him like 5 G's just to put him in this property right out of the gate. But we still have to run everything by our investors to make sure. And why is he offering that?
Yeah, that's a big red flag, isn't it? Like,
why?
Clearly I'm going to get in trouble for accepting this.
Yes. So, no, it's always walking the side of safety on this and protecting yourself plus the public, because if it's my property and you guys are sticking someone in there that might have a rap sheet, 5 pages long, then I mean, I have a concern, or he's, running a ring, a dog ring or a drug ring or something coming out of it. We need to know those answers. We still got to go through the process. Now, it is a competitive market to find houses. I mean, we maybe have 10 houses to show right now out of 600 properties we manage. Mm-hmm. So we have a whole bunch of apartments right now, and we're lacking single family houses. They're all full. People don't want to move right now, so on and so forth. So I can understand where there's 10 people coming to a showing or 10 people over a week knowing it's been showed and that wants to get the edge with it.
Yeah.
But our best answers, right, girls, is we got to get the application first. We got to see what's going on.
See what we're working with. Can't just jump in there. All right, Gabby, we're going to start with you here. What is your biggest fear jumping into this?
I guess getting to be more open and not so shy and just more open to new things, I guess. Okay. Getting out of my comfort zone.
Okay, all right. Lucas will help you with that.
Yeah, not even a question in that.
That's a tough one. I think that my biggest fear is just messing up. You know, I like to get everything right. I want it to be right the first time. I want things to look good. So I think that that's like my biggest fear is failing, not doing something right with paperwork or something like that.
All right, Coach, this is your time to shine, Lucas.
I live in fear I think that's what makes a person great is
Keep going.
yeah, I think that's what makes everybody great is having the opportunity to fail. A lot of people will shy away from, but taking on that moment is what makes a person great. That's where you learn everything. So you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to upset people. It happens. That's general life right there. I mean, you can't avoid it. You just got to do your best and follow the trainings and the guidelines and the checklists that we have in place, and you'll be just fine. You all stood out for a reason is because you were tiptoeing on the side of your comfort zones when you were in the interview process. So you just bring that same mentality to the field. I was probably your hardest client to interview. So,
Yeah, don't get more tougher than Lucas.
Yeah, because I've seen it all. I mean, I've heard everything. So, and the background situation that you're talking about, yeah, you do get shocked, but your judgmental hat's off. I mean, you cannot be judging anyone because everyone's got a story, and there's you do not know what chapter you're walking in someone's life. Because I tell you what, if someone saw my chapter in life from 21 to 25 years old, they would have never guessed where I am in my chapter right now.
Nice.
So you never know what chapter of life you're walking in on someone. Yeah. So,
and I would say on the flip side of that, to address both the things you guys said, like honestly, my biggest successes have come from me trying things and failing over and over. Things that I was uncomfortable with. Things that didn't make sense to anyone else but me, but consistency is key. We should always shoot to be better, but perfection doesn't really exist. There's always room for growth. You fail something one time. It's more important that you learn from that failure than you beat yourself up about it. Oh man, I messed up this in the paperwork. Well, you'll remember that you messed up that time, and next time you're going to do better or be more efficient about it. Or I'm not really comfortable doing this, but I'll try it. You do that a few times, and then it becomes normal. So I mean, those are definitely okay fears to have. But I mean, just off you guys' energy, you're going to overcome that with ease. You got a great team around you. Me and Chuck grew up together, so we've been best friends for almost like 30 years. He's an interesting character, but he's very motivated and genuine, very genuine, and really honest. Sometimes when he shouldn't be. Yeah. And then Luke is just a great guy, just all around. So you guys have a good team around you that'll guide you and kind of make sure you're successful. But don't beat yourself up when you're. If you have any mistakes or if you're uncomfortable with something, just vocalize it and they'll ease you in.
Mm-hmm. So I got something for y'all. What questions do you have so far over just the experience? I mean, life in general. You can any questions you got for two guys that have kind of done a little bit of everything and failed multiple times, and what kind of questions you guys got? This is, instead of us drilling you, now it's your turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the roast session.
Okay. So like both you guys seem very successful in what you guys have started doing for yourself. So like, how did you get that plan together? How did this all come about? How did you know, okay, I'm going to be a realtor. This is the plan. This is how I'm going to execute it. How did we even get here to this podcast?
That's a great question. It was a lot of getting outside the comfort zone, because I full disclosure, I hate videos, I hate pictures. So it is completely outside my comfort zone, but it's necessary. I would say what got me to where we are right now is I've always been very consistent. So I've never chased really the dollar itself. I've chased energy. So I'm one of those that I was a banker for years, and how I got into banking is because I was at Best Buy as a seasonal worker, and I'm like, yeah, there's more to this than that. I really like the opportunity to coach. I was just getting out of college. I was just getting done playing sports in college and whatnot. So I wanted that competitive nature still. So I wanted to stay in the competitive nature. So Best Buyers was sales, and then I got to do grand openings for Best Buy and train staff and recruit staff in. So that was fun watching them grow. So I still got the coaching aspect of it. Then I got into banking because I was good at what I did at Best Buy. They recruited me out into the banking world, and that was a hoot, man, when I first started, because I was bottom tier, go chase business. Okay, so I got to see direct impact of what I did. So I chased business, and then I failed so many dang times. I was one of the best at what I did in the banking world of chasing new business. Then the recession hit, and I had 12 W-2s in the first year of the recession. So I lost my job 12 different times because I was paid the highest and I was there the shortest period of time. And I was young. I mean, I was 26, 27 at that time when the recession hit. And we just had our first kid. I didn't know where I was going to pay the bills. I had no idea. We were financing milk. I mean, putting it on credit cards. So I told myself I was never going to go through that again. I was not going to be W-2'd ever again after that because I was going to control my income.
Ooh, okay.
So when I went back to small town Sac City, Iowa, the bank itself owned the real estate company, so I got licensed.
Yeah. Wait, what city in Iowa?
Sac City, Iowa, right in between Carroll, Iowa, and Storm Lake,
Spell
Iowa.
that out.
S-A-C.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Sac City.
yeah,
I
Sac
thought
City.
you were saying something else. Like,
No,
isn't that a show on HBO?
Hometown of a great whiskey bar or whiskey store out there. They serve all types of the alcohol in there. It's called Sac Liquor. Hey,
There we go.
people do take pictures in front of that sound. It's got the world's largest popcorn ball out there too. So, anyways, but yeah, so I failed and I got hit hard during the recession just because of the line of work I was in. I wanted to make something recession proof. So real estate market could go down, property management's going to go up. People are going to continue buying investment properties. People are going to want to continue to rent. Real estate market booms, goes out. Renters go down a little bit, but your renters are now buying. So it was that's kind of how I wanted to weigh it myself, but I did it out of one folder in my truck thinking I was protecting myself. Not thinking that I'd ever get to the point of protecting staff and agents and putting a yellow brick road out there for them. So yeah.
That's awesome. My story, I think, might be a little darker. Me and Chuck, we've been doing music for about 20 years now. We just started as artists. We had a really great mentor who kind of took us in at a young age and allowed us to record music and do our own thing. Shortly while doing music, we started having to pick up on things like web design, graphic design, being a promoter and being a booking agent. And we learned so much from doing that it became more like a business. And we really just wanted to do music. So we learned, we tried different things, we got outside of our comfort zone, but we saved so much money that we didn't have already by doing it ourselves. And then we learned how we could apply that in the business world. So I ended up, I actually went to school for computer science, and that was only because I knew web design and, I knew graphic design. And then I also went for digital media production so I could learn how to do music videos and photography, and it all related back to the music. Somehow along the way, I ended up working at GoDaddy, and I was there for about 10 years, and then I pulled Chuck in there, and it was great money, but a lot of changes constantly happening, and there's just a certain way that customers will make you feel, and you'll get over it. But then when the staff and your coworkers are making you feel a certain way, now you're just showing up there, and it's like, well, it's good money, but you're accepting a lot of feelings and emotions that you really shouldn't have to. Like you should be able to come to a place that you're comfortable, make the money you want, but also enjoy what you do. They try to say, okay, leave personal things at the door, but really it affects you overall, and then you bottle these things up. So I would say the way the recession affected you, Lucas, the pandemic affected me. That was probably where, in my mind, everything was destroyed that year in 2020. So I had actually, I went through a divorce. I sold my house. We had like this beautiful dream house. I settled for an apartment, and the apartment got destroyed by the derecho. And it was just all these things kept happening in my life where I was thinking, why is this happening? Why me? But it forced me to get back into music. And I had learned so much over the years, and I took a break when I was focused on GoDaddy, but I learned so much that I wanted to help other artists, other people, that way they could just be the artists that I could never just be. So I started doing all these things as services for other people: graphic design, management, booking, writing bios, and all the stuff that I had to do for myself and for my group at the time. I turned that into a business, and instead of getting fired from GoDaddy, I was actually able to walk away because I was making so much income doing my own thing. I was self-sustained. From that and me getting back into music and dealing with that point in my life that was just so dark, and I was feeling sorry for myself. Why me? Why is this happening to me? Well, when I got back into music, one of the biggest things ever happened to me, one of my songs got picked up by the WNBA. And that was the coolest thing ever. But, people get small-minded, like, well, that's just the WNBA. And, I was like, well, I'll keep working, and one day we'll get, to the NBA. And literally 2 months later, the Golden State Warriors used that same song, and it got over 2 million views. Me being the person I am, I reached out to everybody on the team, the staff, even the people that made the video, and built a relationship just thanking them. And then this year, they used the song, another song that I did, Victory Lap, for the Super Bowl during the parade, invited me up there. I got to perform during the parade. And all this music, all this content, I got the studio of my dreams. Like, I was recording at my house originally, and now I got to branch out and get the studio that I love, and I get to help and work with more artists. I got to start the Iowa Music Awards, which was a 10-year dream of mine, and none of that stuff would have happened had I not went through that dark time where, it was like, why am I going through this? And it may not make sense to you at the time when you're failing and you're dealing with the disappointment of what you thought things need to be. I'm a bit of a religious person, and one of my favorite quotes is people say that people make plans and God laughs. He always has a different plan, and you may not understand it right away in the beginning, but it always pays out, and everything comes back full circle.
Yes.
All right, you get to ask a question too before we go. Let me just hit this right here.
Okay, so my question for you guys is, how do you manage your outside life, like your family, with your work life?
I made Lucas start last time. I'll start this one. I have cutoff hours. Like, I would say, like, weekdays, there's like 3 to 8 p.m. that it's not business. It's just family. It's just the plans. It's just a movie. It's just a bike ride. And I have to be stern about that. I'm not taking meetings or scheduling anything between those hours. Though that's the time I got 2 daughters, and that's their time. But from 7 a.m. to 3, I go hard. I every minute is something scheduled, something planned, something that needs to be done. I probably communicate with 20 to 30 different people every day about business, and it's just different conversations and different lines of business that I have. But I know my peak hours of productivity, and I feel like my girls, not only they deserve me at my best, But they also bring me back down to earth. They help me not get burned out. It's something I very much look forward to once it hits that time that it's like, okay, cool. You know, whatever didn't get done, it's got to wait. How do you balance it, Lucas?
Oh, Lord. I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking, how am I answering this question and not being hypocritical and whatnot? It is one of the toughest challenges I have because I'm a people pleaser. So my heart is my biggest flaw, so I want to be there at all times for all people. I've been fortunate to have a very good support system at home that supports my career. So there's been some challenges with that. With that being said, I have my non-negotiables. I will not miss my daughter's games. I will not, I thank God I coach her AAU stuff, and so I get the opportunity to be there for it because I coach it, but, like her volleyball and softball and stuff, I mean, it don't matter what time of day it's going to be, I'm going to be there. My other daughter, she's the most beautiful dancer I've ever seen dance. She's a sophomore in high school, and same thing. I don't want to miss the important events and so on and so forth. So I try to have my cutoff at 7 o'clock at night, get home. I flip my phones over and I try not to answer them.
Nice.
I got anxiety if they're out of reach because I still have to have the ability to be like, okay, what did I miss? Is it something I need to come back to? But yeah, the non-negotiables have to be there. Gabby, you're gonna find out with you having your young ones that you're gonna make those your non-negotiables. So your non-negotiables is doctor's appointments, birthday parties, sporting stuff, whatever not. You're just not going to let it jeopardize it. I'm fortunate enough where my daughters are the best realtors probably in this area. So if I want to go work on the weekend, I'll be like, hey, girls, let's go. And they're excited to go show properties and whatnot. So 15 and 13, and they'll probably, they're beasts. Yeah. They are beasts.
I'm teaching my 8-year-old how to DJ. She's been helping me with equipment.
Yeah.
If we've got a performance, I'm starting to just do my clean music now during performances. So she's been on stage with me. She's doing the words and stuff, and it's a whole vibe. So yeah, sometimes you're fortunate enough to kind of include them in the business, and they actually like it. And I'm teaching her responsibility. If she's helping me carry equipment, I'm actually paying her from that, and teaching her how to budget and stuff. So. There's a way to keep family involved with this, but there's also the times that it's like, okay, I need to just focus on them so they don't feel, left out, neglected, or anything like that. But
and they need to be involved. They need to be involved because especially the young youth, they need to see what a work ethic looks like, and they need to see what the value of a dollar is, and that dad works, 70 to 90 hours a week, but it's for this value of a dollar right here. And I mean, hey, at the end of the day, you're not paying rent, you're not paying the mortgage, so
pants ain't cheap.
You're still buying your own stuff.
Absolutely.
The beautiful thing about real estate, any aspect of real estate, it's a family affair. Sometimes my daughters are icebreakers in situations. So sometimes it's best that they're there. Yeah. But the thing is real estate opens so many different doors. It's kind of like sports. Once you become a coach, you get access to the training rooms, you get access to the players, you get access to the marketing of the sports area and whatnot. Real estate's your constant billboard, so you're turned on almost all the time to what it is, or staying in tune to what it is. Yeah, your family's going to learn to love it or hate it, one of the two.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
One or the other. That was good.
Yes.
That was great. Good questions. I hope we didn't get too deep on there.
They'll be back.
Awesome.
They'll be back.
Yeah.
I want you all to see what their journey's like through this because I'm excited. They'll be good.
Yeah, I think, by the time we're back, I should be starting my classes. So. I wish I could say I'm nervous. I'm really excited. I'm not gonna lie.
There's nothing to be nervous about on that end of it. Your nervousness will kick in when that license shows up, and now you're like Oh,
We're doing this.
ooh, this is what we're doing now.
It's
I'm dealing with someone else's money when you're
Mm-hmm.
out there, because when you're getting licensed, that's your money. That's on you.
Yeah.
Right now, it's your turn to soak up as much knowledge and get as much experience and see as many things as possible that deal with real estate and read as much as you can. When that license shows up, it's a whole nother switch, and Chuck's seeing that his license
Oh,
here,
yeah.
so he's like, oh boy, now it costs me to be a realtor. Now I need to make money to be a realtor.
Exactly.
So, yep.
I'm excited. Well, till next time, anything you want to leave them with? Any of you guys?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, good, good.
I'm excited to watch you guys grow and see your journey, and I'm here too. So feel free to use me as a resource. This is probably like our 9th or 10th episode. Feel free to go back and hear some of the crazy stuff I asked Lucas, and all the good, all the bad, the questions he probably didn't want to answer.
Hey.
Nah, he didn't shy away from anything. It's been awesome. So yeah, till next time, more whiskey and real estate.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.